Scotland Yard's dark beginnings, 10 gruesome murders from its early history. Welcome back to Creepshow, where history's shadows hold secrets too dark to ignore. Tonight we're venturing back to the early days of Scotland Yard, a time before forensic science, before DNA, when the art of detection relied on sharp minds and sharper instincts. Long before Jack the Ripper haunted London's streets, Scotland Yard faced its share of grisly cases. Murders so shocking they gripped the nation and tested the limits of early policing. These are the stories of betrayal, greed, and brutality that left an indelible mark on the Yard's history. So dim the lights, settle in, and prepare to uncover 10 of the most gruesome murders from Scotland Yard's formative years. Number 10. The Kwaker Poisoner, 1845. It was New Year's Day in 1845 when Sarah Hart was found convulsing on the floor of her modest home in Slough. Despite a doctor's desperate attempts, Sarah succumbed to poisoning from prussic acid, hydrogen cyanide. Suspicion quickly fell on her clandestine lover, John Tawell, who had been seen fleeing her home dressed as a Quaker. Slough's authorities used a groundbreaking technology to apprehend him: the electric telegraph. The system couldn't transmit the letter Q, so they wired London to be on the lookout for a Kwaker. Tawell was intercepted at Paddington Station, where he confessed to killing Sarah, claiming it was to keep his wife from discovering the affair. Dubbed the man killed by the electric telegraph, Tawell became one of the first criminals captured with the aid of modern technology. His case showcased the future of crime solving and earned the telegraph a place in history. Number 9. The Edgware Road Torso, 1836. On December 28, 1836, a bricklayer working off Edgware Road made a horrifying discovery: the mutilated torso of a woman. Weeks later, her head was pulled from Regent's Canal, too decomposed for identification. It wasn't until March that the remains were matched to Hannah Brown, a 50-year-old woman reported missing by her brother. Attention turned to her fiancé, James Greenacre, who was arrested alongside his lover, Sarah Gale, as they tried to flee to America. Greenacre claimed innocence, alleging an accidental death, but his story failed to explain the severe injuries to Brown's body. Both were convicted. Greenacre was hanged, while Gale was transported to Australia. The gruesome murder shocked Victorian London and cemented the idea that no secret, no matter how well hidden, could evade justice. Number 8. The Bermondsey Horror, 1849. Marie and Frederick Manning seemed like an ordinary couple, but their love was anything but idyllic. Strapped for cash, they plotted to murder Marie's former lover, Patrick O'Connor, and steal his wealth. One evening, the Mannings invited O'Connor for dinner. As he dined, Marie shot him in the head, but the wound wasn't fatal. Frederick finished the job with a crowbar. The pair buried his body under the kitchen floor and fled, betraying one another in the process. Marie was arrested in Edinburgh and Frederick in Jersey. At their trial, each blamed the other, but both were sentenced to death. Their joint execution drew massive crowds, earning them notoriety as one of England's most infamous killer couples. Number 7. The Italian Boy Murder, 1831. In the shadowy world of 19th-century grave robbers, 3 men, John Bishop, James May, and Thomas Williams, crossed a line. No longer content to exhume bodies, they began creating their own fresh cadavers for sale to anatomy schools. Their downfall came when they sold the body of a 14-year-old boy, rumored to be a missing Italian beggar, to King's College. The buyer grew suspicious of the boy's unblemished condition and alerted the authorities. The public was outraged by the trio's crimes. Bishop and Williams were hanged, while May avoided the gallows. Their case led to the Anatomy Act of 1832, which regulated the use of cadavers for medical research. Number 6. Murder on Waterloo Road, 1838. The violent death of Eliza Grimwood shocked Victorian London. The young prostitute was found in her bedroom, her throat savagely slashed, and her body stabbed repeatedly. Suspicion fell on her lover, William Hubbard, but no evidence linked him to the crime. Attention then shifted to her mysterious client, from the night of her death, a foreign gentleman seen with her in the West End. Despite vivid descriptions, including a ring inscribed with Semper Fidelis, he was never identified. Eliza's gruesome murder captivated the public and inspired countless penny dreadfuls. Some even speculate it influenced Charles Dickens's depiction of Nancy's death in Oliver Twist. Number 5. The Murder of John Templeman, 1840. When elderly landlord John Templeman was found beaten to death in his cottage, suspicion fell on Richard Gould. Known for boasting about a big score, Gould was seen out late the night of the murder and flashing money the next day. Though acquitted at trial, Gould couldn't resist his greed. He tried to collect a reward by implicating others, inadvertently revealing details only the killer could know. While he escaped a murder conviction, Gould was sentenced to life transportation for robbery. Number 4. The Great Coram Street Murder, 1872. On Christmas Eve, Harriet Buswell brought a German gentleman to her lodging on Great Coram Street. The next morning, she was found with her throat slit, her few possessions stolen. Witnesses identified the man as Karl Voleby, but his alibi held. Scotland Yard faced criticism for failing to solve the case, leading to speculation about the witnesses' reliability, or whether Voleby had simply escaped justice. Number 3. The Murder of John Brill, 1837. The brutal slaying of 15-year-old John Brill brought Scotland Yard to Uxbridge, where Sergeant Charles Otway investigated. Brill's body, hidden in Mad Bess Wood, bore signs of a savage attack. Charles Lamb was implicated by a prison confession, but without solid evidence, he was twice acquitted. Brill's murder remains a chilling reminder of justice denied. Number 2. The Wimbledon Poisoner, 1881. George Henry Lamson's descent from decorated war surgeon to cold-blooded killer shocked England. Deep in debt, Lamson poisoned his paraplegic brother-in-law, Percy Malcolm, hoping to claim his inheritance. Lamson believed the poison, aconitine, was undetectable, but advances in forensic science sealed his fate. Found guilty, he was hanged, his case a landmark in the use of toxicology in criminal investigations. Number 1. Murder at Road Hill House, 1860. The murder of 4-year-old Francis Saville Kent gripped Victorian society. Found in a servant's outhouse with his throat slit, suspicion initially fell on the nursemaid, but Scotland Yard's Jonathan Witcher believed otherwise. He focused on Constance Kent, Francis's half-sister, whose missing blood-stained nightgown hinted at her guilt. Though the public rallied against Witcher, Constance confessed 5 years later. The case cemented Witcher's legacy and laid the groundwork for modern detective work. These cases show the gritty origins of Scotland Yard, where the seeds of modern policing were sown in blood and determination. Thank you for joining us on Creepshow, where history's darkest corners come to light. Like, subscribe, and return next time if you dare.